and you guys chat amongst yourselves. Brian will be by to end the meeting.
To end the meeting?
He's going to end the meeting. He's taking his wife to the airport, and I'm going to head off to a thing at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So he's leading us through the four-way test, right?
Yes, make sure he does. Then
Hi,
I'll download
Amanda.
and upload everything later.
Hi, Rory. Yeah, nice.
So
Yeah, I
how-
can I can make the planning for the tours, and then we can decide spontaneous on the trip. What do you think?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Good.
How many people so far do you think?
Right now it's until 7, not more than 7, and I think it's a good group, very good group.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy to get into restaurants with.
Exactly. Yeah. And also when you have the group, when you have 15, it's hard to get a parking spot
Oh yeah.
or whatever. And I think so it's much better. So I made the reservation for the camping ground as well. So that because of the rally. And this is another thing, what it's really nice, because it doesn't matter how long we're on the road when we're coming back, this big motorcycle rally is in town in Bandera.
Oh wow.
So there is party all over the place,
Wow.
But we are staying, the Twin Elm Ranch is a little bit outside because you cannot sleep. You don't want to sleep in the middle of the party, So, but I think this is very amazing. And I didn't know that when we made the reservation. I was only wondering why there was a guy, he said, no, we don't have rooms. And I said, hey, that's far away. Why do you have no rooms at this time?
Right.
And then he told me, we have a motorcycle rally. And I fine, it fits for us, right? So I'm good with that. Yeah, we will have a lot of fun. So,
Okay. Well, I've got to stop in San Antonio on my way. My wife will not ride that kind of distance with me, and she does not want to ride, period. So we have a very good friend in San Antonio. So I'm going to drop her off, and because she's coming, then now I can't ride my bike from Charleston. So I'm going to trailer it to San Antonio, drop the bike off, and leave the truck.
And then ride up.
Yeah, and then ride over. So.
But depend on the weather, it's not a bad idea, actually.
Oh, really?
Because I think Rory and Jerry do the same. They're going with the trailer direct to Bandera, to the Twin Elm Ranch.
Oh.
They thought about it to come over to our house a day earlier, and then we would ride together up there. But that makes no sense. So they would going south, and then they would going back. Make no sense. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But we will bring one, maybe 2 from our district for the IFMR group. So Jeff Tellis and Daryl will join us, hopefully.
Very good. And then I have their patches with them.
I get 2, so maybe I can give them 1. We will see.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they should have them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there.
Here we go. Here we go.
Very good.
Very good.
Awesome.
Chris made it last weekend as well on his leather vest.
Well, I gave it my leather a number of years ago, so.
I have no leather either, so.
Yeah.
I make the buttons on my motorcycle boxes, so I'm fine with that.
Oh, good. Interesting.
Yeah. So guys, how you been?
Everybody's quiet.
Yeah, everybody's so quiet.
Like he's meditating over something.
Maybe they're waiting for the entertainment, right?
He heard his name.
I'm chewing.
I know we've been able to go out and ride every Sunday for the last month. And
really?
Very unusual for this time of year.
Yes, and here is cold, freaking cold. It's not raining. It was beautiful today. We had
we had rain today.
Rain?
Oh yeah. But it's weird because it'll be in the mid to high 60s, And tomorrow it's going to be 55. Seriously?
We do. And in the night we have 36.
All right, by the end of March, you better warm up.
It have to.
I want to.
No. Right now, everywhere it starts blooming up. So the trees getting
really?
this very nice green. So I'm sure the spring is not far away.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
And then we have hopefully a lot of wildflowers. This is the reason why we make the ride in March, end of March, because there is a lot of wildflowers outside. You can see fields in purple and orange, the Indian paintbrush and the blue bonnets, and it's only awesome.
Well, good. We'll make Amanda sick because we'll be on our bikes.
Yeah. Oh, you have to come.
I'm sure we can find a tricycle for Amanda. I mean,
no, Amanda.
Not fair, you guys. No picking on me. I can ride.
And why are you not doing
I
that?
have a bike.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
well,
Anyway, I figured out how to get my volume on.
yeah, Tom. All right.
Hi, Tom.
Yeah, I could barely hear you all. You sounded like you were locked in a closet filled with mattresses. But now you're clear and good.
All right.
Okay.
Technology is a wonderful thing when it's working.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
First time I've had that happen, there's a little tiny thing that looked like a miniature bell about the size of a pencil tip in the upper left corner, and I tapped that as a last resort, and by golly, I got my speakers on. Miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I got my bike out of the shop this week, so I'm back on board the BMW.
What happened to your bike?
Well, as Jerry knows, I do strange things with motorcycles, and this one I have now, I took it in for an annual checkup, and I also had the idiot brake failure flashing red lights up there on the dash. And I'd ridden it for about 4 weeks like that, and the brakes felt fine. So I thought, well, this is some stupid thing with an idiot light. Well, I got it into the shop to have the annual look over, and they called me up the next day and they said, good thing you came in here. Your rear reservoir was almost bone dry, and there was a very, very tiny leak at the crimp where the rear brake line goes to the reservoir.
Oh my
They said,
gosh.
if you'd have ridden it much more, you'd have probably not only needed a new brake line, but you'd have needed a new modulator, and you would not have liked that.
Wow.
So anyway, they got it all fixed, and they took the bike is a 2006, and the BMW Motorrad GPS was so outdated, it really wasn't picking up a lot of the current information. And I had a newer Zumo that I had on my other bike, but I brought it here from Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So I called Garmin, are you ready for this? This is the miracle of miracles. I explained the dilemma that I needed another Zumo mount for a second motorcycle because my original mount was on the bike in Colorado. The guy felt sorry for me and said, I'm going to send you one for free. No charge, no shipping charge, and you'll get it. So they mounted the new, and the BMW Motorrad is a Garmin-based product. So all they had to do was unbolt it from the mount on the gas tank, and then they hooked up the new mount, and they had to change some wires around, but it works like a charm now. And
Great.
I couldn't believe Garmin gave me a brand new mount. That was a $70 treat, not to mention the shipping.
What number of Guardian? They have, BMW number 5, 6, 7. What kind of Garmin is it?
This is a Garmin Zumo, and I think it's a 595.
Okay.
And, it's supposed to be the weatherproof and high resolution screen and lots of contrast. And even though when the sun shines on it, it's still not outstanding. But I made a homemade shade for it, and that seems to block a lot of the sun. And so it's very, very usable.
Mhm.
I bet John's way behind on updates to his GPS.
John, John says, what's a GPS?
It probably knows all the dirt roads in the country.
Here we go. If he doesn't, I do.
Just not the ones that are blockaded at the end.
My dad came down to visit me
I think-
for John's graduation, and he has a GPS that hasn't been updated since he bought it in the early. And none of the neighborhoods, probably in a 10-mile radius of my house, none of the neighborhoods existed in 2002. So he called me. He's like, I have no idea where I am.
Mhm. Here we go. We have a picture.
I know, another miracle. I figured out how to start the video. It had a little red line through it. I said, no, that's like, stop. So
Mhm.
we now have picture. The only time I turn the picture off is if I start eating something or Hava the dog needs to go out for a walk. Jerry knows Hava the dog.
Mhm. Ava is Roy's buddy.
Here on Marco, she's everybody's buddy. Where I am at the Esplanade, they have a lot of commercial shops on the ground level, and I'm up on the 4th floor. And the shop owners, a lot of them have snacks for dogs. And Hava knows that she can get snacks at Yara's shoe shop. She knows she can get snacks at Michelle's Island Cheese Company. She knows that the Marina Dock Master in his golf cart always has snacks on board. And she knows that CJ's Star Bar has snacks. And when we go out every day, I was letting her go drag me to these places. And then she started getting fat. And I said, you're going to one place per day. I rationed her. Tough life for the dog.
Yeah.
It's a treat.
In fact, she and I have walked 3 miles today, and I think I wore her out.
How old is the dog?
She'll be 3 the end of June.
Ah, she's a youngster.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll have to, she'll wake up sometime within the next hour, and I'll put her in the video and you can see what she looks like. Jerry and Hava are great friends, and Rory and Judy, yes, they know her.
Don't you ever introduce that dog to my wife.
You think she'd get dog napped?
Either that or she'd get yours to get one in our house.
Oh,
He's
What's her-
back.
what's her email address?
What a challenge. Have you found a helmet for that thing yet?
I have, but technology has passed me by, and it's only as I slowly get everything working. I have one of the new Sena helmets that's got Bluetooth and it's got noise canceling features, and it's a half helmet, and it's got speakers up above the ears built into the helmet.
No,
Yeah.
I meant a helmet for your dog.
Oh, well, I'll have her wear this, and maybe my ER doctor daughter will then let me have her on the motorcycle.
Good luck
The
with that.
problem is asking.
She already, and my son-in-law, both ER doctors, they both got so dadgum mad at me, I didn't know if I would ever be re-inherited by the family. When I punched her test button and said I was getting a leather flight jacket, a leather helmet, and some goggles for Hava so I could tether her to the back seat. Oh man, she came uncorked. She didn't wait a tenth of a second. No, Dad, you don't do that. No, Dad, I forbid it. You can't do that. No, that's tacky. No, Dad.
Wow.
She clobbered me.
Wow.
So I pushed the test button royale.
Hey, David, how is the new car? You bought a new car.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
You love it? Look, he's
Yes.
driving home now.
Yes. You can't get out of it.
No. It's a new home now. You don't need a home anymore, right?
But yeah, it's drives nice. It looks like you're living in it. Are you in it now?
He picked it
Yeah, I'm
up right
driving
now.
home from the dealership.
Just got it tonight. It's a Toyota Tundra, right?
Tacoma.
Tacoma, okay.
Mm-hmm. I only heard four by something, right?
It's a 4-wheel drive. It's a SR5, and it's the color is quicksand.
Quicksand. Quicksand comes in different colors, or
Is that like a pebble beige?
No, I think like a silver.
dirty
It
beige?
reminds me of the color of the desert Humvees.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see sand that color, I am to assume I'm about to get into some quicksand.
Yes. Grab a branch.
Yeah, big branch.
That's fine. Any news?
Any news from? Oh. No. Things have been pretty calm lately. How about you?
I have a friend from Germany already. She came Monday, and she stays until the 10th of March. So I make the whole sightseeing program with her. And today we was on Space Center, Houston Space Center.
Nice. Has she ever been to the United States before?
Yes, but never in Texas.
How does she like it?
I think I cannot ask her until 2 days later, right? It's a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
NASA's not a bad thing if you're trying to impress people. So that's
yeah,
that's
it's
the best foot forward.
and it's only 20 minutes away, but it was really freaking cold wind today. So we was outside at the 747, you know, and up to the shuttle, and it was only freaking cold, right? So. And then I thought maybe we go over the bridge. There is Seabrook and Kemah not far, and they have a very nice boardwalk and everything. But it was so windy and so cold that we said we wait until the weekend. At the weekend, it looks like it's getting warmer. So that may be nicer. And Galveston for sure, because there's Mardi Gras right now.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
And next week, the rodeo is starting in Houston, guys.
Oh,
And I got tickets from a Rotarian friend. He's the chief of all the volunteers over there. And he organized me 2 tickets for Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson.
Oh, fun.
So I'm going to Willie Nelson with her. She not know what's coming up, but she will know later. So yeah, it's fine.
She'll love it. That'll be fun.
So we will have 4 weeks now. And oh, by the way, at my husband's office, all the trades coming away right now. You know, on the old ways where the trucks came in, you know, with the big wagon and the horses and everything. They're coming right now over the Spanish Trail, over the other trails. They're going all to the Houston, to the rodeo area.
Sounds like the Santa Fe Trail.
Yes, they have a big one. So they're coming from everywhere. I think the biggest group, the farthest group, one in, I was on the Rotary meeting from the Memorial Spring Branch Club the other day. And there's one, she's in the organization committee as well. And she said the longest trip, they make 270 miles on horses and wagons. So they're a couple of weeks, you know, traveling to the rodeo. It's really awesome.
There's another trail, and I know it's in Colorado, and it comes through, I believe, Oklahoma and Kansas, and drops down into Texas and goes over to, I believe, Missouri. And it's called the Goodnight Trail. It's another covered wagon trail. Named after a fellow's last name was Goodnight.
Gute Nacht.
Guten Nacht.
Yeah, so we are busy with that, and and looking for some stuff. But when you're planning things, 2 weeks is not that long, right?
No.
It's going like this.
Yeah.
And then it's not far, and we have our ride.
That's right.
March is 6 weeks now, I think. No,
Yeah.
5 weeks actually.
Yeah. Yeah. It's coming quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving the text, Amanda. She just asked me to fill out this reference for her, and I'm in a rock and a hard place.
What?
Well, it's for me actually, because she's going on our mission trip, and we have a young lady that's an exchange student from Peru that's going to join us also as one of our translators. Delightful young lady. And Amanda agreed to be her roommate as well as mentor during the trip. So Amanda and I both have to go through criminal background checks for the requirements for youth exchange. So
Can I just say that I literally just got adjudication on my security clearance today, so I find this very funny. Like, you think is that somewhere?
So she listed me as a reference, and now I'm like,
What should I say?
Nothing funny about this one.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Here's her text me. Feel free to fib and tell them how cool I am.
Amanda, there's a lesson in this. Just don't send anything to Jerry like that again. Okay, see what happens.
I figure,
reality.
he has to say nice things about me, or he doesn't have a roommate for his exchange student.
Ooh.
Actually,
Sounds like it's gonna cost you, Jerry.
I think both the exchange student and Amanda are gonna have a great experience. So
I am going to teach her all kinds of things she shouldn't know. I'm so excited.
That's usually my job.
Hey, have I bragged about my kids today?
No.
Hey, I'm going to brag about my kids today. So Jonathan went to Auckland and had a mental skills day with the professional rugby team that's up there, and fanboying the whole time, sending these surreptitious pictures of the All Blacks all up there. At the end of the day, he said, so yeah, that was a pretty cool day. They have an award. So all of the academies who were there, I think there were 6 or 7 academies who were all there. All of the academies who were there nominate, the coaches and the players nominate the player at the academy who's the hardest working player for the academy. I said, oh, that's pretty cool. Did one of your roommates get it? And he said, no, Mom, I got
it.
Congratulations.
And I told my husband, I said, I don't care if the boy never plays rugby, professionally. If he never plays rugby again, that's like all I care about right there, that he's the one.
He can come to Houston because my husband is busy with the convention right now in Houston, and they had a speaker last meeting. There is a new rugby team in Houston. They just built a stadium up. So this is something we will want to also, because there's a lot of British, Indian guys, they're coming to the convention. So what we want to do is that they can visit a game, when they are.
Well, if you ever need, if any of you guys, wherever you guys are, if there's one of the burgeoning pro league in the United States, Houston, the DC team just traveled to Houston last weekend for a game, actually. If you guys ever need connections, international connections, you guys know how I talk to a wall, right? So I have lots of connections in the rugby community that we can leverage.
Great, thank you. Good to know.
Anyway, thank you for humoring me while I brag about the child who is male. The girl child had a pretty awesome weekend too. She finished first and second in 2 of her events for her first gymnastics tournament of the year.
Wow.
Gymnastics. I have to admire gymnastics, especially the ones that do the stuff on that like 4-inch wide beam. That looks like that would hurt.
Only if you do it wrong.
Well, I don't know that I could ever do it right, so I'd be in a world of hurt.
Is that Linda who just left? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said she had to go. She was going someplace. I don't remember what.
Bye, Linda. Enjoy your meatless lasagna.
What are you doing, Jerry?
Oh, it is Ash Wednesday. Oops.
I'm trying to calculate how long I've known Amanda. She told me what year. Now I'm trying to figure out how many years that is.
Okay.
You don't have that many fingers and toes, Jerry.
20, it's 20, 20,
Wow.
24 years?
25?
25 years?
Really? Wow.
Which is so weird because I'm like 27.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're getting pretty old. Yeah, when she was 2 years old, she applied to the Rotary Youth
I
Exchange.
totally do. I was the youngest exchange student ever to be accepted by the Rotary. Mike, we were driving to Michigan last weekend, and Mike was quiet. He was listening to a book on tape, and he kind of took his headphones out. And he goes, "Man, I can't believe I'm going to be 45 this year." And I said, "Well, I can't believe it either, honey, because you're going to be 46." And he was like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "Yeah, you are." I said, I turned 40 in June, and we're 6 years apart. He had a horrible realization wash over his face that
Who's counting years when you're having fun?
apparently not Mike.
They're all, those years are relative.
Yes, definitely.
I also think I'm a firm believer that age is completely irrelevant. It's really just where you are in life. So I've got all of my high school girlfriends. I've got a bunch of them just having babies right now. Right, I've got one going to college, and I've got girlfriends who are just having babies right now. And I was like, we are just not the same age. We're just not in the same place right now.
Just got a little head start.
Yeah,
Those poor girls having babies now.
I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. I barely had the energy for my kids when I was 21 and 23. Let
I
alone
know having a baby at 33, and I'm calculating out how old is she going to be? How old am I going to be when the kids are done high school?
yeah.
But I can't imagine at your age. I mean,
No. And there's so many. It's very funny. We live in an area that has a lot of older parents. I think that there were a lot of retired military who then had babies, people like that. So there are quite a few kids that are in my daughter's grade whose parents are older than my parents.
Wow.
It's just
Wow.
we're definitely.
I keep telling myself that health is priority number one, no matter what the age.
Oh, sure.
very true, Tom.
Another
Mental,
reason
physical.
I condemned myself to a diet about 2 weeks ago.
And
Food diet, Tom.
Well, it's a diet that is not probably written in any of the books. It's a common sense diet. And I hadn't been to a doctor in about 8 years, and I hadn't had a screening in 5 years.
wow.
I finally just had a new screening done, 11 of them, from that Lifeline screening.
Yeah.
And some of my numbers were not what they could have been or should have been. And so I said, okay. And so my new diet is I eat what I want, but I eat less. And I've lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks.
You see?
Holy,
Geez.
Mhm.
That's great.
that's crazy.
Now, if I can lose another 30, that'll be good too.
30?
But
It's
you
like
looks
a
not
third
that
away.
you looks not that heavy, you know.
Well,
So,
You can't
I-
see the rest of them.
yeah.
I'd like to get back to within 10 pounds of high school weight.
Oh no! It
I don't
seemed
think-
like my husband. He lost 30 pounds, and he will lost another 10 to get on the weight he had when he was at the military. And I was like, please, no, that looks not like that. Looks so skinny, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
sick,
not.
sickly looking.
Well, we
It's
got to have a
making-
little extra cushion to live on in case we don't get food for 3 hours.
This could be your survival plan in case the coronavirus turns into a pandemic.
Hey,
I'm bulking up now.
go there.
I'm bulking up now, and then I'll be able to survive.
Is that what it is? If-
Well, between the coronavirus and the blockades of the railway tracks in Canada, it's certainly affecting the market, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm
Everywhere,
sure.
everywhere. This is in Italy, they have, I think, 170 people they are sick on the coronavirus. Now in Germany, they have people that came from Brazil. And in Germany, it was one in the middle and one in the south. And there was a woman, she came from Italy as well, and she worked in a kindergarten as a teacher,
I think the media blows it out of proportion, though. When you look at the numbers of people that live in Wuhan versus the percentage of people who have it, and then really, it's like as long as it gets the same strain as the common cold, as long as
Much more severe.
get care for it. But I think media blows up so much and it gets the panic going.
Yeah.
It certainly didn't help when our CDC director came out yesterday the way you did.
Yeah.
In Canada right now, our bigger concern is the blocking of the railway lines and shutting down the railway lines across Canada because of the dispute with the First Nations over the pipeline.
Right.
And it's unbelievable the impact that's had, like the number of trains that had to stop, the number of layoffs for the train company. They did arrest a bunch of the protesters last week, but when they shut down one protest section, then they pop up more.
Sure.
So my son is an OPP, and so last night he spent the night at a reserve near Hamilton, Ontario, and there was 25 police officers there for the night. The cost involved with monitoring is astronomical, and there's nothing they can do. They just have to sit there, make sure that there's no that it stays safe for everyone around. But unless there's a court order, they cannot force them off the railroad track. Crazy.
And they say that coronavirus actually developed from bats, an infection of bats. I think someone was somehow had a bat and some bodily fluids from the bat got on someone's hands, and they were preparing meats or food or whatever in a very unsanitary environment, and a human being ingested infection from the bat. It just exploded from there. Simple
They're also
little,
saying the live markets where they have livestock,
right?
that's where it's originating from as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where they were handling the meats and whatnot, somewhere in Japan.
China
Or
or Japan.
China. Excuse me.
China.
I meant to say China. Sorry. Japanese people will kill me.
Yeah, they got their Kobe beef. Don't bother them with that.
That Kobe beef, yeah. The massaging of the cows or cattle, whatever.
That's right. Relax them. Make that meat super uber tender.
Yeah.
Uber tender. And the second horrible country is Korean, right? Because they don't get any information and they cannot really, help the people. They get infected and everything, and nobody knows how many people they are infected now.
North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
South Korea's got cases also. But
Yes.
you're right.
Yeah.
North Korea, they have no idea how many.
Mm-hmm.
You won't find out either.
No, they won't give that kind of information out.
Oh, our good buddy Kim Jong Un, he's bound to be forthcoming.
Don't talk about Rocket Man like that.
Well, one thing that's not hilarious is, the U.S. has been talking about how few cases they have, and wasn't that long ago. Well, they had one, and then they found a couple more in Los Angeles, I think, and then we took all the passengers off that Japanese cruise ship, Diamond Princess, and they are here, and the number jumped to like 27. And then last night I'm watching TV, and I heard that we also all of a sudden we're up to 90 cases of this corona.
And the other thing is they didn't know, because they says you have to be in quarantine 2 weeks, but what they not know right now is the situation that even if you get not infected, you can be somebody who infect others without getting sick. This is a problem. You can work like a catalyst, and horrible.
We are overreacting yet, though. I mean, there's over 12,000 people a year die in the United States alone from the flu virus. So
yeah,
I agree, Gary. The media is really
people are reacting, wondering why we don't have a vaccine for this and whatever. And heck, they don't even react to the flu vaccine. So.
And I think if they would not make this panic, there's a lot of people, maybe they have this virus, but they're not dying and they're not infecting somebody because it's not that bad. And my friend from Germany told me Monday when she came, there was a guy who was covering himself over the whole flight. He was not coming, and that 11 hours he was covering himself because he was afraid to get infected. And when you see how the people getting crazy, and this is why I'm agree, Jerry, the panic, it's sometimes I think why they tell something about that in this kind of, because
you think when you're flying, all the air in that cabin is recirculated.
Yeah.
And you're breathing the air no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And they and you also got to realize that the cases they're counting in the United States, there wasn't a major increase in numbers. All they did was move people that were counted in a different category in Japan to the United States, and that made a big jump. There wasn't a big outbreak of cases from being in the United States. It was just that they moved them. So, yeah, it is a big concern, I tell you, because I'm watching it carefully with the upcoming Maya trip, for us, because right now there is no cases in Central America.
Brazil won.
But in some of these third world countries, if they get hit by something, they don't have the infrastructure to be able to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's serious to be worried about, but I think that we're, if the CDC is not going to call a pandemic, I don't think that CNN or anybody else should be able to do that.
No.
Well, they stir up enough noise. It's unbelievable what they
can
do.
make it a pandemic.
Makes you wonder if the government is behind some of it.
Now I'll stick to the yellow goldwing virus. That's good for me.
Yeah.
The bumblebee.
The bumblebee, right?
And if John keeps riding with me, he's going to catch it sooner or later.
Oh. There goes Bigger.
What was that, John?
I'm waiting for John to pipe up and say dyslexia, baby. Yeah, watch, that'll show up that video. Is there a video recording tonight?
Yes, it is.
Yes, there is.
Shit happened.
Oh, I better call Linda and tell her to better edit something out of there. My humor gets me in trouble all the time.
No, I can't see that.
You just
all entitled to my wife, she'll just shake her head.
Well, it got quiet all of a sudden. I think maybe I'm going to see if I can find some time enough to get a hold of Brian and Keith and Chris and those of us that are in Florida and have us meet somewhere And
Oh, yeah.
I think if we found a central point, we could all get to a central point in probably 3 hours, maybe less than 3 hours. And we
Oh,
could have a
sure.
pretty good couple hours meeting and meal, and maybe do a little planning on that trip I mentioned earlier, where maybe we could set up a multi-day tour through and around Florida.
Good.
I like that idea.
Well, I haven't forgotten about it. It's so easy to get sidetracked. I just got back
Oh,
from
yeah.
Tampa and belong to a group of Winnebago owners, and it's called Calusa Winnies. And we hosted last year and this year 200 other Winnebago owners at the Lazy Days Resort in Tampa, Florida.
Tampa,
And
yeah.
all the sites got filled up. So we had 4 days of activities and food and games and tourism and meeting new people from around the country that have RVs and trips. And it was really nice, but I only got back about 2 days ago. So I'm catching up on stuff that still needs to be done.
Linda, your email to Haley and Hannah's Helping Hands is proudly displayed on their Facebook page. Oh, she's gone, isn't she?
Keep going,
She,
right.
yeah, she wrote to them confirming that they were our speakers, and they posted it on their Facebook page. They're excited.
Good.
Well, we had here about a week and a half ago, while I was up in Tampa, the Vietnam Memorial Wall, the traveling wall memorial,
Yeah.
came to Marco Island for the second time in like 6 years.
Mhm.
And the first time it came, we had a police motorcycle escort from Fort Myers all the way onto Marco Island. And they did the same thing again this year. And unfortunately, I was in Tampa, so I couldn't ride in it. But when I got back, I found out there were very nearly 500 motorcycles in the escort parade that the Marco Riders that I'm a member
Wow.
of down here got to be the escort for the wall.
I was one of those.
You made it?
Good
I
deal.
did make it, yes.
Wow.
Outstanding.
The local Goldwing chapter in Cape Coral had a ride to go down there and meet the wall and escort it down. So I got
Well,
to join in on it.
Wish
Sure.
I'd been here and known you were there. I'd have been with you. But
Yeah.
I think last Sunday was the last day the wall was going to be here, and then they were dismantling it. And I think from here, it goes to Texas, Garland, Texas.
Ah,
I think there's a Garland, Texas,
I don't know.
but that's where the memorial wall is headed next.
you guys have the Patriot Guards active in your area? Because they usually conduct all sorts of escorts like that.
How it calls Garland, Texas, or how?
That's what I recall, like GARLAND, but like
Garland, Texas. Garland.
that sounds like it.
It's from here, 295 miles. It's close to, wait a minute. Oh God. Dallas.
Okay, Dallas, Fort Worth area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if you have a chance and you haven't seen it, it's a
Very
miniature wall, just like the one in Washington, D.C. It's the big one with all the names of those who perished in Vietnam chiseled into marble. And it's very, very, you just about break into tears. I've got a friend, and his name is on that wall.
Gary, does Joe Mishler still bring that to Holly?
What's that?
I'm sorry, I was distracted. I missed that.
It's okay. Joe Mishler used to bring the wall, the moving wall to Holly when I was a kid. I actually sang for one of the things that we did around it.
You know, I haven't been connected with him for a little better than a year now. He's been doing a fair amount of directing over at the Clarkson Village Players. But I haven't talked to him about that in a long time.
I think we just established that was more like 25 years ago.
How can that happen when you're only 27?
It's magic.
Yeah, it's tough to remember things like that when you were only 2 back then.
Exactly. I mean, the fact that I remember it at all is miraculous.
By the way,
You invert the numbers.
18 plus 25.
Jerry, stop. It won't work.
I did an introduction email to everybody on the upcoming team for this Guatemala clinic, so everybody get a little bit of understanding who each person is. And I stopped short of putting people's ages on this.
Thanks.
Right, they can probably figure that out.
By the way, I'm not the oldest on the trip.
And I'm not the youngest.
Our youngest is going to be 16.
I know, that's awesome.
Wow.
16-year-old and 18-year-old, a bunch that are in their 20s. That's good. They can work real hard.
She's 25. Or 27.
Yeah. Anybody that's in their 20s gets to work extra hard.
So David arrived, right? Looks like he arrived.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Been on the whole time, haven't you?
He was driving with his new car.
Yeah, I'm back home now. I'm walking in my house.
He's still smiling ear to ear. Yeah, good.
Wait until tomorrow. How his smile gets bigger tomorrow.
It'll still smell new.
I can't hear.
You're better off.
Yeah, Uta, what town are you in Texas?
Excuse me?
What town are you in Texas?
Friendswood.
What's it called?
Friendswood. How the friends and the woods. So Friendswood.
What's that close to?
It's close to Pearland and close to Houston South.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. You found me?
I'll be in that general area probably in August.
Oh, okay, that's fine. We're not leaving this year. We make in December. We want to go to Germany, but this year we are not going in the spring and not in the summer because it's too busy right now. So we will be there. So we can make a ride. Bring your motorcycle.
Oh, that's part of that. That's the whole idea.
Okay. Great.
Trying to convince Jerry to come along, but he's got a job, so he may not be able to make it.
August will be hot here.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to live in Killeen.
Colleen? Where's Colleen? I heard about that one time.
That's where Fort Hood is.
Yeah.
It's near Waco. It's north of.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Waco.
Austin is, I think, 6 hours from us. Probably.
John, that looks like a 5-week trip, and my wife's giving me a 3-week curfew.
Okay.
Well, you can go part way.
I went to Guatemala this time and signed up for a 3-week, this last November, and I signed up for a 3-week
Hi, John.
immersion school class. And then she did the math afterwards. She says, wait a minute. How come you're going for 5 weeks again?
Well, if you got all that Spanish, you'll be helpful in Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
But by the way, they speak Texan as well, right?
Right, the Tejanos. Yeah. Let me tell you something about Texas. My little experience with Texas. I was on active duty with Coast Guard, taking off drug boats down South Padre Island.
Mm-hmm.
So we went on a little excursion to McAllen, And I was driving down the road, minding my own business, and all of a sudden, some guy came screaming up past me on the shoulder of the road. And of course, my natural inclination was to swerve into his direction. And one of the guys in the van stopped me. He said, no, what are you doing? I said, this idiot, instead of going left of center and past me like I thought everybody did, he went on the shoulder. And he explained to me that I didn't understand that that's what Texans do, that they pass on the shoulder of the road and not go left of center. And I thought, what? And several people were doing it out there.
Yes, they're doing it. They're doing it everywhere, but it's not allowed for sure as well. You know, it's
Really?
not. Yes,
A
not allowed.
true Texan, Harold, would know that it is your responsibility to move to the right onto the shoulder to allow them to pass in the lane.
What?
That's
But
what I
that's-
was taught.
But this is nobody what
If
the
someone's
Texans do. You can pass wherever you want.
On the road, you know, if they have a breakdown.
Mhm. Yeah, they're
Everything's
crazy.
Yeah.
I do remember when I was stationed in Texas as well for 4 months, and then I went back home to Michigan and caught myself going 84 miles per hour in a 55.
What's the problem?
Yeah, well, nothing if you're in Texas and the speed limit's 75 on the same
Oh,
on a
yeah.
similar road. But
Mhm. We have 85 on one roads when they are not that busy. They have 85 sometimes. So
So
I am
when I worked for the state police, it's called SLED, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. We had a little museum with all sorts of neat law enforcement related things like machine guns, Thompson machine guns. There was this one device, it was a cone shape with a little hole in the center, and it was fixed or attached to the front bumper of a car on the driver's side. And it struck my curiosity, so I investigated a little bit more. And you know what it was? It came from Texas. The Texas troopers used to have that device mounted to their bumpers. It was loaded with 357s, and they would put their, then I guess, red lights on a person to stop. And if they didn't stop, they were allowed to have a plunger device, and they would actuate this machine gun type thing and riddle a car, rendering it to stop or causing it to stop. And finally they took it to court and it was deemed unconstitutional. But everyone in Texas didn't understand that. This is Texas, the great state of Texas. When you're told stop, you're supposed to stop. So I have a lot of little things that I've learned from Texas and Texans. At the FBI Academy, I was up there for graduate school, and two guys came in, and I swear they came in with their guns on, with their cowboy guns on, like 6-shooters, 10-gallon hats, and the stars that were made out of peso. They were Texas Rangers. And I thought,
hi, Brian.
you exist?
Hello.
Oh, look who's here. Hey,
With help tonight, Brian.
What's that?
You have a co-moderator, right?
Yes, that's right. We had to drop Mom off at the airport. She's going to Las Vegas for a girls' weekend. So
Okay.
we're having a boys' weekend. We're gonna go fishing this weekend.
All right.
what
Sounds
happens
good.
if he stays in Vegas?
Yeah. Sometimes, you think maybe she should stay in Vegas, but you never know.
Hey, Brian, guess what? You're here just in time because you're going to do the 4-way test tonight.
Yes, sir.
Oh, goody. Okay.
You have some minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have 5 minutes, buddy.
5 whole minutes. Less than
Look what John doing, counting, right?
Good night, all.
Who said that?
Who's
Who
that?
was that?
Glenn.
Oh, Glenn. Hey, good night, Glenn.
Night,
Good night.
Glenn.
Good to see you.
Bye.
All right, sir. See ya.
I think Glenn said, I think I've had enough.
Too many Texans tonight,
Too many
right?
Texans.
Yeah.
Too many Texans spoil the soup.
No, he talked over curiosities. Is that right?
Yeah, curiosity.
Yeah.
I learned a new word tonight. You see, so
They killed a cat.
That's a heck of a word, too.
it's a heck of a word too.
It's
So
a
now,
mouthful.
what it's different in Texas. So you can do a lot of things in Texas. I learned you cannot do somewhere, and especially the speed. I think the speed limit in Texas is so much higher than everywhere.
Well, I learned on a motorcycle, do not try to navigate in and around Dallas. No way will I do that again. Not ever. It was a nightmare. And I'm a pretty savvy rider. No way. Absolutely hated it.
The only thing what I can tell you,
St.
as a-
Louis and Boston can be pretty horrendous also.
The major metropolitan areas I circumvent.
the only thing what I can tell you about Texas or the area here about the speed limit is, so what I learned is when I'm going for myself, I have to be really not going 5, not 4 miles per hour too fast, because then they will catch you. When you, yes, they are I saw that more than one time, and they catched me twice, but I never get a ticket after that. So that was a good thing.
What'd you do, smile?
I had luck, but what I saw is, and I talked actually in one Rotary Club in Danbury, we have 3 judges over there from the areas. And I said, guys, is it right when I'm going for myself and I'm too fast a little bit, they would catch me. But when I'm in a group, nobody will stop us. And they said, that's right.
Really?
Yes. This is a practice what they're doing over here. So when you ever pass over the border to Texas and you are alone with a motorcycle, try to not go too fast.
Well, usually I set my cruise at about 10 miles over, no more.
5 maximum.
And usually, well, there's a variation of a speedometer within 5 miles an hour.
Of course.
Arguable. So with people speeding as much as they are, anything under 10 seems a little tough.
Yeah.
I agree.
I like 10 over at least, than the fastest car, because then you don't have surprises from behind, or at least you would have as many surprises from behind.
Oh, yeah.
I always put a decoy out front, and then I stay about 200 yards behind him. And even if he's going 90, I'm about 200 yards behind him.
I just tell the cop that I know Harold.
Yeah. That'll get you under the jail.
Yeah.
The Jimmy Hoffa, it's a Jimmy Hoffa situation at that point.
Yeah, Jimmy who? I got stopped the other day, and I knew they had some radar going in the area, and I just increased my speed a little bit too much. So a deputy stopped me, and I had a passenger, my buddy, who just come back from playing around the golf, and he said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "What do you mean?" "I'm going to get my driver's license, my registration, and proof of insurance out." That's what we're all supposed to do. So he came over to the passenger side, asked for everything, and I said, "Good afternoon, deputy. I have everything out and ready for you. My hands are up on the steering wheel.
Yep.
And I have nothing to declare." And he said, "All right, well, Mr. Hill, 45 mile an hour speed zone, and you were traveling 61. And I said, "Really? Huh? Imagine that." He said, "Well, just give me a minute. I'll be right back." And I thought, so I tapped the horn, and he came back up sort of, really disgruntled, like, "What do you bother me for? I'm going to write you a ticket." And I said, "Look, I'm not asking for any preferential treatment. However, if you could somehow lessen the impact of the points it's been a very, very long time since I've had a ticket, and I'm retired law enforcement. So he asked, well, do you have your ID, sir? Yeah, I sure do. So I showed it to him, and he looked at it, and he said, well, slow down. Yes, officer. Thank you very much, deputy. And I went on about my way. Not more than a half an hour later, a buddy of mine called up and he said, did that cop stop you? I said, yeah. Well, he gave me a ticket. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't always work though. And that's why I never tell anybody, you know, when they come up to the car, oh, well, I used to be a cop. Because today, that can work two ways. That can really backfire on.
It's nice though. He gave your buddy your ticket. So.
Yeah.
So what are
Because
you
you
saying? I
didn't
shouldn't tell
get
people
it,
that what are you
because he-
saying, Harold, that I shouldn't tell people that I know you?
Yeah.
Only if you're in South Carolina. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Harold,
like-
now that you're getting all this sympathy, I need a little sympathy here because it's going to be 48 degrees in Marco tomorrow, and I'm going to be a popsicle.
You see, it's
Wow.
as cold as here. It's as cold as here.
Yeah, it's going to be cold down here for the next couple of days.
I
We
know.
too.
Front moving through.
It's the same cold front we got.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In fact, we're going to
Thanks a
have
lot.
Thursday,
Could
Friday,
have stopped
Saturday.
it over there.
All right, Mr. President, it's past my bedtime.
All right. The four-way test of the things we think, say, and do first.
Is it the
truth?
Truth.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Concerned.
Will
Will
it
it
build goodwill and
And
better
better
friendships?
friendships? Will
Four,
it,
will it be beneficial to all concerned?
why we never
Is
get
it
that as a
fun?
core? I cannot understand that.
Adios.
And
Bye-bye.
five,
Is it fun?
Don't forget to
Is
turn
it
off the
fun?
recording,
Is
Brian.
it fun?
I am doing
Everyone
that
have a
right
good
now.
week.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Let's see.
Later.
Later.